Well, Penny and I welcomed Marie and Garrett to California. Our first stop on our walk on day one was to Kimberly Crest, a mansion on 6 acres or about 2.5 hectares and bought by John Kimberly in 1905. He was the co-founder of the Kimberly Clark Paper Company. And no trip to California would be complete without a quick trip to Costco and some of their fantastic hot dogs. And then there was the trip to the famous San Diego Zoo, one of the finest zoos in the entire world.
Next, and during your time at the zoo today, don't forget to check out the plants. I know you're here to see the animals, but you're also visiting one of the largest botanical gardens in the entire country. Just here at the zoo today, there's about 700,000 plants. And many of these plants that we are passing by right now on our tour are actually found nowhere else in the entire world.
Hi, kitty. You, Sheila. I love them. If they want to dance.
Particularly impressed with this flamingo, a great balance standing on one leg like that.
It's so cute. I just pulled my Instagram. In a new documentary joining themselves said he attempted suicide after the Browns cut him in 2016. Yeah. Dude, I can't believe that elephant just like fed him. That was cute. Is that better? Dude, I love it. Oh, is it you that did the...
And next came a baseball game, a real American baseball game at the Anaheim Stadium of the Los Angeles Angels baseball team. And the fellow behind Garrett and Marie is Shohei Ohtani, and he supposedly is the #1 baseball player in the world these days. So that was our national anthem at a baseball game between the Los Angeles Angels and the Seattle Mariners at the Angels Stadium in Anaheim, California. And this guy at bat that you see here is the #1 baseball player in the world. His name is Shohei Ohtani. He's from Japan, supposedly on a par with Babe Ruth, but unfortunately he never made it to first base with all of his hits that night. A little bit of humor. The line at the men's loo. It's usually the other way around. Marie wanted to see the famous San Andreas Fault, so we began at this small lake right on the fault, and there were some kids there catching crayfish for dinner. Nice. Look at that. Oh my gosh, wow. Holy cow. That's a video. So. Excellent, that's great. So you guys are going to cook them then?
Yeah, we're going to cook them.
Oh man, wow. Cool. So because Marie is an amateur geologist, she wanted to see the famous San Andreas Fault, which is near where we live. You can see quite easily right here where these plates have separated, especially right there behind the three of them. It's the 750-mile or 1,200 kilometer long split between the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate. It came into being about 30 million years ago. It moves about 1.3 to 1.5 inches or 33 to 37 millimeters per year. And volcanologists tell us that it has reached a stress level whereby they expect a magnitude 7 or greater in the near future, but they don't say when. Almond Clyde bought this ranch in 1863, and the legendary lawman Wyatt Earp was a good friend of his, and he used to stay here quite often, and the ranch is right directly on the San Andreas Fault. That same day, we continued north to visit the Benedictine monastery of St. Andrew in Valyermo, California, where we attended Vespers. And one of the monks was really great, very adept on the harp. And next was our visit to the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History, where we saw lots of amazing dinosaurs. I was particularly amazed by this huge monster, amazed that he or she had such a tiny head and presumably an even tinier brain that controlled such a gigantic beast. Next was our visit to the famous Paramount Pictures in Los Angeles, Hollywood, and a VIP tour that we had there that day. This is the actual Academy Award called an Oscar that was awarded to Paramount in 1972 for the Best Picture that year. It was The Godfather. One of the classic episodes of I Love Lucy was the one where she was pitching Vita Mita Vegemin, a tasty treat for good health. I Love Lucy was filmed here between 1951 and 1957, and Lucille Ball and her husband Desi Arnaz filmed it in their own studio, which was actually next door. It was called Desi Lou, and it was later acquired by Paramount. And this is the original bench where Forrest Gump sat with his candy. This parking lot is really interesting. You'll notice a huge screen in the background. Well, the studio could paint that screen with whatever backdrop they needed. And today, of course, they can use green screen technology. And what is regularly used as a parking lot is actually a huge lake of water when they fill it. It was where the parting of the Red Sea in the Cecil B. DeMille movie, The Ten Commandments, was filmed. So behind those two sound stages, you can see the famous Hollywood sign. And Gert and Marie went up there a little bit later. And stage 30 was the home of the filming of The Godfather back in 1972, and also the TV series Little House on the Prairie. And on stage 31 is where they filmed Forrest Gump, some of it at least, and the Addams Family Values movie, and the original Star Trek TV series. Soundstage 19 was where Citizen Kane was filmed, starring Orson Welles, as well as the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze. And also some famous American TV shows were filmed in Stage 19. My Three Sons, That Girl, The Odd Couple, and Happy Days. Penny's favorite actor is Russell Crowe, and this is the costume that he wore in the movie The Gladiator. And then there's some more memorabilia that you can see there too. And here's Penny right next to a giant transformer. And back to some more props. So as promised, we went then to visit the Hollywood sign. This sign is pretty much recognizable around the world, and it was originally erected back in 1923, but it's been improved on over the years. Each one of those letters are 45 feet tall, about 13.7 meters. There she is, make fun. All right. Mighty Los Angeles. There's Penny.
Are you outside?
Garrett, give a smile. Thank you, sir. This is the site of the very first McDonald's. It's in San Bernardino, California. That's the town that's over next to us. Two brothers, Dick and Mac McDonald, founded it back in 1940 as a barbecue restaurant. And against all advice, in 1948, the brothers decided to reduce their menu to cheeseburgers, hamburgers, milkshakes, and fountain sodas. And they reorganized their kitchen in order so that they could specialize in speed of service and simplicity of menu and really low prices. The revolutionary thinking forever changed the restaurant industry. And in 1961, the brothers sold their company to billionaire Ray Kroc for $2.7 million, or 2.6 million euros. And after taxes, each brother got about $1 million, or 938,000 euros. Today, the company is worth about $250 billion, or 238 billion euros. On a rather hot day, we ventured to visit a real ghost town, Calico. Back in 1881, miners discovered silver in the mountains around here, so lots of people rushed here to get rich quick. There she is. Oh, all right, that's the way to do it. Absolutely. And Garrett, there's your new car. You can take delivery of that, huh?
Yeah.
Would that be great?
Yeah.
To ride around in that, huh? Oh my goodness.
No tires.
1 horsepower would all be that engine would be 1 horsepower. In its heyday, Calico had 3 hotels, 5 general stores, a meat market, bars, brothels, and 3 restaurants and boarding houses. And at its height of silver production during 1883 and 1885, Calico had over 500 mines around here and a population of about 1,200 people. And by 1890, the population of the town was about 3,500. So, Marie, you think you would like to live in this era?
There's a woman now.
As a woman, no.
No, not as a woman.
Oh boy.
No.
How about as a cow? How about as a cowboy?
As a cowboy, a ranch, maybe a rancher.
Ah,
Hard living.
yes. There it is, the Calico Ghost Town. It's a biggie.
One of those bets is that it's easier to walk up this ramp than it is to come back down. Does anybody want to try it? Yes. Want to try it? All right. It's harder to walk. Yeah. Harder to walk down than it is up. Yes.
Ready? Yeah. Whoa.
All right.
Anybody else want to try? No, I'm
Garrett, you want to give it a shot?
No.
Marie,
No.
come on. All right,
Down.
there she goes.
Put your feet together and put your hands
There she goes. Ah, look at that. Oh, you can do it, you can do it.
If you can't do it, just stand up.
Push your hands up. Oh, that's great. But by 1896, the American government voted in the Silver Purchase Act, which resulted in the value of silver being greatly reduced. So by 1907, everyone had moved out of Calico, and it officially became a ghost town. After we left the Calico Ghost Town, hopefully with no ghosts hitching a ride, we drove to the Pisgah volcano. So here we are in Pisgah Crater. Can you imagine that? Marie the geologist, huh? Look at that. A real caldera with, it looks like recently, although not, lava flows there. Yes, so Mojave Desert out there. We climbed all the way up to the top up here. So this volcano stands about 321 feet or 98 meters above the Mojave Desert. Under it are lots of lava tubes that cave explorers like to explore. One of them is about 1,300 feet or 400 meters long. And volcanologists say there is no reliable date on which this volcano last erupted. The most popular thought is that it was about 20 to maybe 50,000 years ago.
learn from the expression of my eyes. My lord, one word, the facts were not before you. The word was injudicious, I allow. But here my ex.
Next, just before departing for Belgium, Gert and Marie visited the world-famous Getty Art Museum in Brentwood, California, Los Angeles area. It features pre-20th century European paintings and drawings, illuminated manuscripts. There's sculptures in there, decorative arts, and photographs from the 1830s through the present day from all over the world. Among the artworks on display is the Vincent van Gogh painting Irises. Before Getty purchased it, it sold in 1987 for $54 million, or 51 million euros. Also at the Getty is Starry Night by the Norwegian painter Edvard Munch. And two of Rembrandt's paintings are at the Getty as well, Old Man in the Military and The Abduction of Europa. And we got a kick out of this painting. It's called Penelope Unraveling Her Web by a painter by the name of Wright. That's funny because Penelope, or Penny, is my wife, and our last name is Wright. Small world. And then there is one of Rembrandt's self-portraits. He did many of them during his life. One of Rembrandt's self-portraits as a young man. So Gert, being a historian, wanted to visit the Presidential Library of President Richard Nixon in Yorba Linda, Southern California. It houses all of Nixon's memorabilia and recounts the history of his life and his presidency. Unfortunately, that presidency ended in disgrace. The Watergate scandal refers to the burglary and the illegal wiretapping of the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee in the Watergate complex. That's a luxurious residential and business complex in Washington, D.C. And the dastardly deeds were done by members of President Richard Nixon's reelection campaign. He tried to cover it up, but he got caught. And he set up recording devices in his office for his own personal record eventually, maybe to write his memoirs after he was out of office, and he thought that they would be safe in the event of a lawsuit or if anything else happened. But the court ruled that they weren't, and he had to turn them over. And so his Watergate plot was on those tapes, and that's what did him in. Here is Nixon at his desk in the White House's Oval Office talking with his Vice President, Gerald Ford, who eventually became president when Nixon resigned in 1974. But hark, a new president is now in the Oval Office, President Gert Decoster. Here are pictures of him with his wife, that's First Lady Marie, and his chauffeurs and bodyguards, Pete and Penny Wright. Let's listen in as President Decoster works his magic by phone. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America.
Okay, Pete. Yeah, you want to be me and really want to like show me up. Okay. Is that all? Okay. Let's call it quits. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the desk at which President Decoster is sitting is the same desk that Nixon used in the White House. As you could see, President Decoster keeps Nixon's desk considerably tidier than Nixon did. Except for Watergate, Nixon was quite a good and hardworking and very intelligent president. His loyalty to his country was exemplified when he resigned so as not to cause further chaos for the American people via Watergate. Under his administration, we first landed on the moon, and he proposed sweeping healthcare reform, which he never got to finish due to his resignation, and he welcomed Elvis to the White House. This is the telephone on which he spoke to astronaut Neil Armstrong while Armstrong was actually walking on the moon. Next to it, you can see a speed dialer that shows his secretary, Rosemary Woods' name. She famously deleted 18 and a half minutes of the Watergate tapes, which she claimed was inadvertent. No one knows what those 18 and a half minutes contained. The other person on the speed dial was Nixon's chief of staff, H.R. Haldeman. He was hugely implicated in the Watergate break-in, for which he served time in prison. Here is my wife, Penny, standing next to Nixon's grave and that of his wife, Pat. And here she is, sitting next to Abe Lincoln. This is Nixon's actual helicopter that he used when he was in office. A pilot, many years after Nixon's time in the White House, actually found it junked somewhere and restored it and gave it for display here. And this is Nixon's home when he was a boy. The gentleman in the suit and tie was our guide. The American $20 bill shows trees on both sides of the White House there, and a sapling from the tree on the left was planted in behind the home after Nixon's presidency. It is in the very center of this picture and has now grown quite large. Interesting tidbit, one of the guards had a name tag that said R. Vandenberg. Turns out that his uncle was General Hoyt Vandenberg, after whom Vandenberg Air Force Base in California was named. Well, that concludes Garrett and Marie's trip to California. We really hope that you guys enjoyed your time here with us. It was our honor that you came, and now off from LAX and back to the beautiful country of Belgium that we came to know and love dearly. Bye-bye.